Most people firmly believe that once they finally cross that magical threshold and earn $100,000 a year, all of their financial struggles will simply vanish into thin air. They imagine a life of constant celebration, assuming a massive six-figure salary means you've officially made it and will never have to worry about a bill ever again. But here is the uncomfortable truth. Thousands of highly educated professionals earning six figures are secretly stressed, overwhelmed, and still living completely paycheck to paycheck. Sure, from the outside, everything looks absolutely perfect. They have the modern apartment in the trendy part of town to show off their success. They drive the shiny new luxury car, constantly upgrading their lifestyle to match the new income they are bringing in every month. And they take those incredible, picture-perfect beach vacations that look absolutely amazing and draw countless likes on their social media feeds. But behind the scenes, late at night, the reality is much darker as the stress of maintaining that expensive lifestyle quietly eats away at them. They don't realize it, but they're actually stuck in something dangerous, a financial mechanism I call the $100,000 salary trap. It's a vicious hamster wheel where the more money you earn, the harder it actually becomes to break free and build true, lasting wealth. And the strangest part about this entire system is that most high earners are entirely confused by it and never even realize it's happening to them. If you take a magnifying glass to the mechanism, you'll see exactly how it's designed to trap you, yet most people fail to notice until it's too late. In this video, we're going to map out exactly why high salaries often fail to create real financial freedom, breaking down the impact of taxes, lifestyle inflation, and debt. We will uncover the hidden financial forces that quietly stack against you, ultimately keeping high earners chained to their desks and working for decades. So let's start by asking a very simple, but incredibly important question about how we view money and success. If someone is consistently earning $100,000 a year, standing proudly at the top of their career, they should easily be accumulating wealth and have plenty of money to show for it, right? After all, earning six figures puts you dramatically above the average income in many countries around the world. But studies consistently show something incredibly surprising when you look at the actual financial health of these top earners. A massive percentage of people earning over $100,000 still report high levels of financial anxiety, holding overdue notices and mounting debt. They find themselves endlessly juggling multiple credit cards, massive rent bills, and loan payments, spinning in a state of constant financial confusion. When you look at their actual savings, you'll often find a broken system with very little long-term wealth actually set aside for the future. The problem isn't a lack of intelligence, and it certainly isn't because they aren't earning enough on paper. Many of these people are highly educated professionals, engineers, lawyers, and managers who are incredibly smart and hardworking. The real problem lies in the hidden structure of the financial system itself, turning like gears in the background to keep you exactly where you are. Your large salary creates a powerful illusion of wealth, making you feel rich the moment that paycheck hits reality. But the system is quietly designed to split that money into dozens of smaller streams, aggressively draining it toward taxes, bills, and endless expenses. This mechanism systematically drains your resources, severely limiting how much actual wealth you can build regardless of how much you earn. To truly understand how this trap works, we need to take a close look at exactly what happens to a $100,000 salary. The very moment that massive paycheck hits reality, the first thing that reaches out to grab a massive chunk of your hard-earned money is the government, taking its share through heavy taxes before you even see a single dollar. On paper, a $100,000 salary sounds like an incredibly impressive number that should guarantee financial ease. But immediately after income taxes take their massive bite, that big, beautiful number rapidly begins shrinking right before your eyes. Federal taxes, state taxes, and various mandatory deductions quietly but aggressively pull your money downward into their respective buckets. Then come the hidden costs like Social Security and healthcare contributions, leaving you scratching your head as you watch the money disappear. Suddenly, that grand $100,000 is reduced to something much smaller, leaving you confused about where it all went. In many cases, by the time the dust settles, your actual take-home pay is much closer to $70,000. That is a massive difference, and if you look closely, it completely changes the reality of your monthly financial situation. But here is where the real problem begins, and where the trap truly starts to spring on unsuspecting high earners. Most people proudly make their biggest financial decisions based entirely on their gross income, completely ignoring the smaller take-home reality. They sign leases for luxury apartments, assuming their big salary can effortlessly support the massive monthly rent. They finance brand new cars to park outside that apartment, watching their monthly payment obligations slowly multiply. They allow their monthly expenses to slowly and quietly stack upward, building a lifestyle based on a phantom number. Because the truth is, before a single dollar is actually spent on your life, the reality funnel has already taken its massive cut. A large portion of your salary has already disappeared, leaving you reaching for the surprisingly small amount that is actually left over. And this mathematical disconnect leads directly into the next major problem that keeps six-figure earners broke. Whenever people get a promotion or receive a raise, bringing in more money and triggering celebrations, something incredibly predictable happens. They immediately start moving their lives into more expensive territory. This is known as lifestyle inflation, a dangerous ladder where each step up in income is instantly matched by more expensive living choices. The perfectly fine small apartment quickly becomes the luxury high-rise apartment with skyline views. The reliable used car is traded in for a brand new luxury vehicle with all the sparkles and upgrades. And small, seemingly harmless lifestyle upgrades like nicer restaurants, endless streaming services, and lavish vacations begin multiplying everywhere. Each of these upgrades feels completely reasonable in the moment, easily justified by the rising monthly income. After all, you've put in the long hours, earned the diploma, and worked incredibly hard to earn more money. So naturally, you feel like your daily life should improve and you deserve to reward yourself with the best things. But the danger of this mindset is subtle. These small expense upgrades slowly form a heavy financial chain around you. Every single upgrade permanently increases your monthly baseline obligations, stacking bills higher and higher. Suddenly, your massive rent eats up a huge portion of your check, followed quickly by premium insurance and hefty car payments. Your brand new car payment becomes a stubborn anchor on your calendar, draining your account month after month. And those small daily expenses and subscription apps grow quietly, multiplying into a massive financial leak. Eventually, without even realizing it, your cost of living rises so high that you are completely surrounded by financial commitments. And once your expenses rise to meet your income, something incredibly frustrating begins to happen. The six-figure salary that once felt completely life-changing is suddenly barely enough to cover the growing lifestyle cost. You find yourself staring at bills, wondering where all the money went, completely losing that initial feeling of financial victory. Making $100,000 begins to feel completely normal, no longer providing the comfort you thought it would. Or even worse, as expenses begin to exceed your income, that massive salary actually begins to feel completely insufficient. And this leads us directly to the third hidden problem with relying solely on a high salary to build wealth. Your income is directly tied to the hours you put in on the treadmill of work. If you stop running, everything falls apart. In this system, time literally equals money. You only generate income as long as you are actively clocking in. The moment you step away from your desk, get sick, or decide to take a break, the flow of money instantly stops. This means your financial growth has a built-in ceiling, leaving you exhausted behind a laptop day after day. You are forced to slowly climb the career ladder, hoping for the next incremental promotion to boost your earnings. But you can only work so many hours in a day, and promotions are incredibly slow and far apart. To make matters worse, those small annual raises rarely keep up with the aggressive, upward push of inflation. It becomes a race where the cost of living constantly threatens to overtake your hard-earned income. But the biggest issue isn't just hitting an income ceiling, it's something much more costly known as opportunity cost. Many high earners become so completely consumed by long work hours and busy maintaining their demanding careers that they never find the time or energy to build other income sources, leaving side projects and investments entirely untouched. Brilliant business ideas slowly fade away into the background because the worker just keeps typing endlessly at their job. They abandon the dream of building their own startup, trading their entrepreneurial potential for the illusion of job security. High-value financial strategies and learning materials sit gathering dust on the shelf while the worker looks completely exhausted. Ultimately, their corporate job consumes all of their time, building a cage out of endless deadlines and calendar invites. The system quietly drains all of their physical and mental energy with constant work notifications popping up on their screens. And it completely monopolizes their focus, leaving their minds filled with nothing but work tasks and pressing company deadlines. So that beautiful, six-figure salary becomes both the ultimate reward they worked so hard for, and the very gold-plated cage that keeps them trapped, unable to step outside and truly enjoy their lives. But this financial system has another, even more dangerous layer when a friendly banker suddenly appears with a smile. Because high salaries unlock something else entirely, the eager willingness of banks to offer huge stacks of loan documents. Having a six-figure income gives you immediate access to bigger, more tempting forms of consumer credit and massive debt. And banks absolutely love high earners, opening wide the doors to massive mortgages, personal loans, and credit lines. Because from a lender's perspective, a reliable six-figure professional looks like the absolute perfect, low-risk borrower. So suddenly, with a few green check marks, doors begin to open to a lifestyle built almost entirely on easy loan approvals. They hand you the keys to bigger, more expensive mortgages, wrapped up with the excitement of a beautiful new home. They gladly offer luxury car financing, making it incredibly easy to drive out of the dealership with a shiny new status symbol. They hand out higher credit limits and multiple credit cards to fill your wallet with a false sense of purchasing power. And they provide personal loans with attractive terms, encouraging you to sign confidently for things you don't actually need. Individually, each of these financial upgrades feels like a totally reasonable reward for reaching a higher income bracket. After all, society and your friends give you a thumbs up, confirming that this is exactly what financial success is supposed to look like. But together, as you zoom out and look at the bigger picture, these payments begin stacking higher and higher into a mountain of obligations. They link together to create a powerful financial effect, forming a heavy chain of debt that tightly wraps around your future. Instead of using their powerful income to build true assets, high earners find their monthly calendars choked by repeating payment icons. Many high earners completely misunderstand the game, unknowingly building a massive column of liabilities while thinking they are getting rich. They buy a massive house that requires 3 solid decades of relentless mortgage payments just to keep a roof over their heads. They finance a luxury car that immediately begins losing value the second it leaves the lot, depreciating year after year. And they accumulate credit card debt that quietly spins out of control, absorbing massive amounts of their future income through interest. And over time, as they walk forward into their future, these chains of payments follow closely behind them like a dark shadow. Eventually, those heavy financial obligations completely shape your life, forcing you to sit at your desk exhausted and stressed. Because suddenly, no matter how tired you are, the chains of debt dictate that you absolutely cannot afford to stop working. The mere thought of quitting is impossible when you look at the towering stack of bills looming in the background. Even with a massive six-figure income, you are stuck running endlessly on a treadmill of earning just to pay the bills. And this painful realization reveals the absolute biggest misunderstanding that society has about how money truly works. The bold truth that surprises most people is that a high income and actual wealth are not the same thing at all. Income is simply the money you earn when you are actively trading your limited time and energy for a paycheck. Wealth, on the other hand, is the money that works tirelessly for you, growing like a tree while you relax nearby. A large salary can definitely create a lot of temporary comfort and buy you nice things to rest on in the short term. But true, generational wealth usually comes from building and acquiring ownership in things that generate their own separate income streams. It comes from the ownership of businesses that operate and produce value continuously, whether you are in the office or not. It comes from the ownership of smart investments, where stock charts rise and dividends flow directly into your wallet. And it comes from the ownership of physical assets like rental properties that generate reliable passive income month after month. These are the powerful assets that generate income and continue to produce wealth while you sit on a bench and enjoy life. They provide the ultimate luxury, generating cash flow without ever requiring your constant time or daily physical presence. This exact concept is precisely why two professionals earning the exact same six-figure salary can end up on completely different paths. One person confidently walks down the path of spending their income on shopping bags, trendy gadgets, and endless travel icons, while the other person remains highly focused, taking that exact same income and carefully converting it into stocks, businesses, and real estate. The investor uses their salary like seeds, planting them so that small asset icons begin beautifully multiplying all around them. And as the timeline of their lives moves forward, the spender stays financially flat while the investor's assets grow dramatically upward. That early difference in financial habits begins to compound dramatically, creating a massive gap in their overall wealth trajectories. Small, disciplined financial decisions begin to stack and multiply along the investment path, building a mountain of quiet wealth. And eventually, those carefully nurtured assets mature and start automatically producing heavy streams of income all on their own. It's an incredible level of income that flows effortlessly and no longer depends on the owner constantly trading their time. Meanwhile, the other person, despite their high salary, is still exhausted and running on that exact same treadmill for a paycheck. So, looking closely at the trap, does this mean that earning a $100,000 salary is a bad thing? Of course not. Having a high income is an incredible advantage if you know exactly how to use it properly. In fact, a strong, glowing six-figure salary can be the absolute perfect, rock-solid foundation for building a massive financial empire. But it only becomes a dangerous trap when you fail to turn that salary into seeds for your long-term investment garden. The trap snaps shut when people look at a pile of cash and mistakenly believe they have wealth, ignoring the assets that actually matter. The real goal of your career isn't just working harder to earn a slightly bigger pile of money to spend. The ultimate goal is strategically turning that hard-earned active income into powerful investments like stocks, strong businesses, and valuable property. You must transform it into true ownership and long-term assets that automatically generate coins while you sleep. Because true financial freedom and a perfectly balanced life don't come from the sheer size of your monthly corporate paycheck. True freedom comes strictly from the scale of your passive income continuing to rise much higher than your actual living expenses. It comes from seeing exactly how much of your daily life is no longer dependent on earning a single active dollar. And once you finally start seeing money through this specific lens, you can safely step right out of the salary trap. You begin making very different, highly confident financial decisions, redirecting your cash flow toward investments instead of fleeting lifestyle upgrades. If you genuinely want to understand the exact roadmap and systems that actually build permanent wealth and financial independence, you need to focus heavily on the turning gears of ownership and systems, not just chasing a slightly higher active income. You need to completely rewire your brain and think fundamentally differently about how money, assets, and time actually work together. And diving deep into those exact wealth-building concepts is precisely what we talk about here on this channel every single week. So make sure to hit that subscribe button to Algorithm of Money to join a community of people learning to build real wealth. We'll provide you with weekly breakdowns, clever financial systems, and high-level wealth strategies showing how money really works behind the scenes. Because the standard financial rules and diagrams that most average people blindly follow throughout their entire working lives are a broken, repeating path of working and spending that simply aren't designed to create real, lasting financial freedom. And the sooner you understand the massive difference between earning, investing, and owning, the faster your entire financial reality changes. Because once you finally escape the traditional salary trap and walk confidently toward your own financial independence, your money finally begins doing the heavy lifting and working tirelessly for you, rather than the other way around. You get to enjoy your free time while your background assets quietly generate income, unlocking the life you've always actually wanted. And at the end of the day, understanding that system and building those assets, That is the real algorithm of money.